Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Media Boat Podcast, your weekly edition of us talking about movies, TV, music, and video games, not necessarily in that order. My name is Mike. His name is Matt.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. Thank you for joining us another week on the Media Boat Podcast. Today is November the 28th, 2023. It's almost December, folks. And this is episode 411, where we give you the 411 on all of the things that we just said.
Hey, you took my line.
Yeah, you didn't say it. I had to. It's my job. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, if I can talk. So let's get into it.
Yes, we do. And let's get right into the music section. Start the music section with the Billboard, and we start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And the hottest song in the land is Lovin' on Me. And I don't know what I'm doing with my hands here, but you can't see it because it's audio. Lovin' on Me by Jack Harlow.
Yeah, I have not heard this, and nor do I want to.
I have heard of Jack Harlow.
Well, yes.
He is the basketball guy.
Basketball guy?
From White Men Can't Jump. That Jack Harlow.
Oh, the remake. I forgot about the remake.
It's funny because that was this year.
What a long year. We'll get to we'll talk about
a long year in a bit here
at the end of the show, but before that.
Yes. If you want to stick around to the end of the show, which you should do anyways, we will be breaking down our holiday plans. But if you still have plans to listen to Cruel Summer, guess what? You're not alone because it's number 2, Taylor Swift, Cruel Summer. At 3, Paint the Town Red by Doja Cat. And then at number 5 is Snooze by SZA.
You missed one.
I did not miss one. I am not going to acknowledge number 4 until it is December.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but we have to say all 5 of the Hot 100, whether we agree with their placement or not.
Okay, at number 4. I
call that the Morgan Wallen rule.
The Morgan Wallen. Yeah, at least with Morgan Wallen, I go, that's Morgan Wallen. You have to acknowledge him.
Hey,
but here, like once we get into Christmas, once we get into December, although now I'm going against my own house rule of I don't acknowledge any Christmas themes until after Santa comes down Fifth Avenue.
Oh, he's been here. That was over. That was almost a week ago. You can say the name of this song.
Okay. At number 4, get ready. You're going to hear it a lot over the next couple of weeks. All I Want for Christmas Is You, Baby, by Mariah Carey.
It's here, and it's not going anywhere for the entire month of December.
Yes. Also, note this is just the Mariah Carey version, not the Mariah Carey and Justin Bieber version, which is out there.
No, we forget that happened. That doesn't exist on our timeline.
It exists in the ether. It exists out there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you want to project yourself into that chaos, it is available.
I do not recommend this. The Media Boat Podcast is not responsible for any headaches or brain aneurysms that come from this experiment.
I mean, you could put it on a holiday place and watch people freak out going, what the hell is this? We're ruining it.
Anyway, what's on the Billboard 200?
As for your album chart, your Billboard 200, at number 1, For All the Dogs by Drake. Coming in at 2, 1989, Taylor's version by Taylor Swift. Coming in at 3, Rockstar by the Dallas Cowboy aging cheerleader, Dolly Parton. Ageless Wonder, Dolly Parton, sure. I guess, after that halftime show.
Something like that.
At 4, Orange Blood by N. Hypen.
If your blood is orange, you should get that checked out.
Unless you're Kel Mitchell working at Good Burger. Because you love orange soda.
So soda's not blood.
If you drink it enough. And at number 5, One Thing at a Time by
Yeah.
Morgan Wallen. There you go.
You did it.
If you didn't like any of those albums, we have a new release.
Yes, new release. Let me change this. There we go.
Yes, it's singular because there's just one release this week.
Yes.
Ayo! Oh, sorry. On, off. I'm sorry. Yes, no. Binary, 1-0. I think it's I/O.
I think it's IO.
Yes. By Peter Gabriel. Yes,
Yes.
that Peter Gabriel.
If you've been waiting a long ass time for another Peter Gabriel album, well, here you go. Here it is. Here's his first album in, I want to say, over a decade. I'm not sure if I can confirm that, but it's been a very long time. So there you go. The long awaited IO.
All right. Let's get into some music.
You're like, I have
news.
nothing to say about Peter Gabriel.
No.
That Sledgehammer video is pretty cool. It's all like the clay, and it's like, never mind.
Nothing to say about Peter Gabriel. Just that his name is like two angels smushed together. So it is just the season.
You're not wrong. All right.
All right, let's get into some music news.
Music news.
All right, and we're talking about BMI. And
Body mass index.
And it's not your body mass index.
It's
Damn
not?
it.
Okay.
Get out of my head. Stop stealing my jokes. We're going to start with BMI's transition to a for-profit model as it takes the next logical steps forward on Tuesday, as a new Mountain Capital-led shareholder group announced a majority growth investment in the organization. Along with ASCAP, which remains nonprofit, BMI is one of the two largest performing rights organizations in the U.S. The deal is expected to close by the end of the first quarter in 2024. BMI's president and CEO, Mike O'Neill, will continue to lead the company along with the leadership team following the closing, according to the announcement. New Mountain Capital, will acquire the company from the shareholders who currently own it. Those shareholders must approve the sale.
So, as the story mentions, this is not the first big change BMI made. The first one was that they decided to become a for-profit company. As you know, ASCAP, its biggest competitor, is not for-profit. So what this story just does is, like, it's natural that a for-profit company would get bought because there's reasons why you would want a bigger fish to buy it, more capital coming in, more money flowing, more things you can do with said money. But here's where the potential issue is that music rights publishing should not be a for-profit business. Let's be real. There's a reason why ASCAP operates the way it did, and the reason why BMI operated the way it did before this. So naturally, songwriters are terrified by this, because if you have your catalog under BMI licensing, BMI now seems like a riskier investment because they're now going to take more risks with their money, and that means with your songs. So I see a lot of artists on Twitter and other social media saying, hey, if you're on BMI, maybe move your shit to ASCAP, because this has now become an unpredictable gambit. Because who knows? We've seen what venture capital does in every single other situation. It never leads to good things.
I mean, the only reason it doesn't lead to good things is because they're trying to make a profit off something that was already not for profit.
It's not.
It's like someone trying to invest money into this podcast. We are currently not for profit.
No, we're not. We're gonna make a cent off this.
We're not for profit. We're no profit.
We're no profit. Yeah. We're not even we're not
There's
an
a difference
NGO,
there,
unfortunately.
But anytime a venture capitalist comes in and injects money, they expect a return, especially within a year to 3 years.
Yeah, it's not going to look
if
good.
it even goes to 5 years, that's when they start looking to sell.
Yeah.
To sell it again and then sell it again. Part of a 5 to 7 year plan. Yeah. I've been through several of these with companies.
Mm-hmm. So does not look good. It's not a good thing that this is happening. The only people this benefits are the shareholders who get to reap the benefits of this sale. That's literally all it is.
Right. They get to reap the benefits of the songwriters' work that they put in, because they put the money in, and the money apparently costs more or means more than the actual work that goes into writing a song.
So, anyways, yeah, I wanted to talk about this because this actually hit right before we recorded last week. This is technically a last week story, but I wanted to sneak it in so we could talk about it. Because, yeah, it sucks. And yeah, move your shit to ASCAP is, I guess. ASCAP is more than just the hat that I wear on my butt.
So since it's been out for a week, any other like additional news has come from this?
Just like ski sloped right past that joke. You're just like, shh, right past it.
Oh no, I let it sit for a beat and then I moved on.
Give me one beat. All right, let's move on.
Well, so I give you two beeps.
You don't have any. You don't have it ready. You don't have a soundboard.
No, I do not have a soundboard yet. Hey, if you would like to donate to the Media Boat podcast, we can have a soundboard.
Christmas is coming up. No,
it is.
We'd abuse that. You know that. All right, let's move on to our second story.
Yes, our second story has to deal with the mysterious Hall and Oates.
Are they mysterious?
Well, sorry, there's a mystery.
Well, there was a mystery, but it's been solved.
Okay, so the mystery of why Daryl Hall obtained a restraining order against John Oates of Hall & Oates has been solved, at least in part. Now that part of the case has been unsealed by a Tennessee judge who previously ordered all details to be kept under wraps. It's now been revealed that Hall is attempting to block his longtime musical partner, Oates, from selling his share in their joint venture of Primary Wave Music. On Friday afternoon, the Associated Press was the first to report the actual reasoning for the restraining order after the judge quietly unsealed some, but not nearly all, of the case 2 days earlier on Thanksgiving Eve in a blatant attempt to try to
bury it
over the long holiday weekend.
Yes.
According to the AP report, what it is that Hall can't go for is Oates's Oates's desire to sell his share of the duo's Whole Oats Enterprises.
It's the name of it.
To the investment firm, which already purchased a significant stake in their catalog rights 16 years ago. Hall has indicated that he regrets not owning all his publishing.
So I had seen the headline that Daryl Hall obtains a restraining order against John Oates, and everybody was like, "Wait, why? What happened? What kind of fallout happened between them?" It just so happens that the cause of the drama is a Media Boat favorite, the selling of music license, music publishing. It just happens to fit right in our wheelhouse. So yes, unfortunately, our two dads are fighting, and they're fighting over the fact that Oates wanted to sell the publishing and Hall wants to own all of it, which makes sense, right? You have this, like, you see these parallel conversations happening in music right now. You have artists that want to completely own their publishing and control that in-house. And you have other artists that are like, no, let somebody else do it. I'm just going to take the paycheck now. And yeah, it's been fascinating to watch kind of where both camps develop.
It's also fascinating to watch who makes these kind of moves. If they have family or legacy or an estate, or if they don't. If they just want the paycheck now to enjoy the money now, or if they want to hold on to it. And who was it? Like Justin Timberlake, who sold his catalog. But then again, he's married to Jessica Alba. So how was that working out? What if they're getting divorced yet?
Jessica Biel. Wrong Jessica.
Well, I'm sorry. She's going to be Jessica divorced soon after the Britney Spears stuff. So
Damn. Anyway.
No, sorry. After Trolls Band Together failed at box office.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I hope they make up. I hope they figure this out. But if this is the last we hear of Hall and Oates, and they just completely become separate people, then maybe it was meant to be at some point. It was always bound to happen.
And this is when Garfunkel and Oates rises to the top. Wait, no, those are two other people.
That's completely unrelated, despite these similar names. All right, let's move on.
All right. But yeah, as you mentioned, Media Boat favorite, selling of your entire music catalog,
Yes.
or trying to prevent the sale of your entire
We'll
music
see what
catalog.
happens with theirs. No moves have been made, I guess, so far, so we'll see.
We shall see. Did you listen to anything?
I was extremely close to trying to figure out what that mess of an album, that Rockstar Dolly Parton thing was. I didn't quite have the gumption to do it. I couldn't do it. So I was just like, it's fine.
It's
So no.
okay. If you're going to listen to a Dolly Parton album, listen to Run, Rose, Run
Right,
from
I know.
last year.
You love that thing.
I did love that thing.
But yeah, mostly I was just doing some not catch up, I guess, like reassessment to try to nail down a top 5 for the wrap up stuff.
Well, yes, but for those of you out there, as December rolls around, or we'll probably talk about this next week, all of the unwrap your music shit is going to hit.
It already started. Apple Music's launched today. I already did it. And I feel like, again, just like I said last year, I feel like it misses a lot because it's not accurate. Besides the fact that, yes, I do know that Taylor Swift was my most listened to album artist. She always is. But everything else, I was like, nah, this is definitely wrong.
See, I felt that too, especially when it said Taylor Swift my number one album or most listened artist.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wait, we did that Taylor tourney. So yes, that would make sense.
That actually, might be part of it for sure. Yeah. She was 5 times more listened to than my next artist. It was like 298 for number 2, and then just like ridiculous, like some ridiculous 1,000 plus. Like it was crazy.
Wow. I feel pitiful saying my number because they were in the double digits.
Yeah, no. You know how many minutes total I had? 19,000 and change. Christy only had 6,000 to compare. Hey, that's okay though. I felt inadequate when I saw somebody post that they had 52,000 minutes for the year, and I was like, "What?" Although I want to note that they're a music writer, so that makes a little bit more sense for them than it does for me. But hey, what are you gonna say?
So that means that 10% of their entire year,
yes,
was
listening to some
spent
sort of
listening to music.
Yes.
I guess as a music writer, that would make sense. But then
that would make
again,
sense if it's your job.
Yeah, but then again, if you're supposed to be like asleep for half that time, or even a third of that time, you're supposed to be asleep because I had 8 hours of sleep out of the 24. So,
I don't know.
Math.
Not even once. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on where other people can do math in video games.
Yeah, people do math so we can have fun. That's what video games are.
And we're going to start with new releases, including an old release of Batman: Arkham Trilogy for the PS5, Xbox One, PC, PS4, the Switch.
Yes, the Switch. Finally.
I think the last one it's coming to.
Yeah, I don't imagine these games are coming back until they remaster them inevitably in the next few years.
Yes. Also coming to the Switch, Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince.
Oh.
And it has to be the mysterious way said.
Sure.
We also have SteamWorld Build for everything. You got it. You can play it. Also, Turok 3: Shadow of Oblivion for everything. You got it. You can play it. We got a couple of PC releases, including Last Train Home and Blood West. And then, speaking of remasters, Hitman: Blood Money Reprisal for the Switch.
Yes.
I love it with a surprisal.
Reprisal.
All right. And then we have some heavy hitters here, including Born of Bread for the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Switch.
Is that a heavy hitter? Is there something about this you know that I don't?
Yes. Have you not been born of bread yet?
No, I've not been born of bread.
You're about to be born of bread.
I am?
Yes. Because it's coming this week.
Okay.
We also have Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Yes.
The
1.0
extended
release.
version.
Well,
Yes,
it's
the
the
official.
1.0 release. It's out of early access, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This is
Uh,
also a week before. And next week, it will come out on mobile, in case you're wondering,
finally.
including that Apple Arcade version, which is probably where I will take a look at it because you don't have to spend money on it.
That's coming up for everything. Yeah, Apple Arcade gets it for free. I think this is also going to be on Xbox Game Pass, right?
Actually, I'm not sure if that's part of this deal. It was already on Game Pass for the
Right, because that's where
early
I played
access.
it.
That's where I played it as well. But yeah, I don't know. I actually do not know if it's remaining on the service for this. And also, I won't be able to tell you because I just canceled my Game Pass. Just try to
Yay!
save some money. So yeah, I won't be able to tell you what's on Game Pass for a while.
All right. And then lastly, Fallout 76 colon Atlantic City for the PC and Xbox Series X.
Nice.
Go take me down to the Atlantic City where the Nuka's cold and the girls are weird.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess it could be pretty, but it's Atlantic City.
Sure. I've never been. I'm not going to judge.
We need someone from New Jersey to tell us how about this.
Where's Adam? What's Adam doing?
Where's Adam doing?
Yeah, what's he doing?
Uh,
Anyways,
actually, he's in Florida.
it's in Florida right now. Why?
That's where his parents are. They got out of New Jersey, went to Florida.
Hey, don't they all?
Don't
All
they
right,
always? All right.
let's move on.
Let's move on then to
Team
Sony.
news.
Sony news. Sony Interactive Entertainment and NCSoft have signed a strategic global business partnership. Their CEOs currently, Jim Ryan, and
For now,
yes,
on his way out, Jim Ryan
and Taekjin Kim, respectively, met to put pen to paper on the deal, which will see them, quote, collaborate in various global business fields, including mobile.
Mobile.
End quote. Tuesday's announcement comes a year after it was reported that Sony and NCSoft had struck a deal to create a Horizon MMORPG.
We reported on that a year ago.
Yes. It was claimed at the time that the project would be developed by the South Korean company behind the Lineage and Guild Wars MMO series and target the global market as part of Sony's push into live service games. Quote, partnering with NCSoft advances our strategy to expand beyond console and broaden PlayStation's reach to a wider audience. Like SIE, NCSoft shares a similar vision in creating high-quality, impactful entertainment experiences for players everywhere. And together, we're excited to collaborate to push the boundaries of gaming further, said current SIE boss Jim Ryan.
So, my read of this is that they were already doing business with NCSoft in some capacity. Mm-hmm. NCSoft is a company that not only has live service game knowledge, but mobile knowledge, an area that Sony isn't super strong in. So this is kind of similar to what Microsoft is going to do with King in their mobile experience. I think this is Sony's kind of pathway to have a dedicated mobile developer on their squad. I think this makes sense. Also, it puts them in different markets. In the last few years, I think SIE has gotten very European focused. And so this gets them more tendrils back in the East, like they used to back when they were mostly a Japanese company. This puts them in South Korea a little stronger than they were. So there's a lot of reasons to make a partnership like this. I think this makes a lot of sense. And as kind of a parting last thing, major thing for Jim Ryan to be part of, it makes sense because he was the guy who spearheaded that live service game initiative in the first place.
And taking that MMO RPG concept for PlayStation Studios, clearly they're working on a Horizon version, and they have working contact with Guerrilla Games, who former head of Guerrilla Games became the current head of the PlayStation division.
Yeah.
So that would assume an established working relationship, especially if they have to share assets and or story ideas across the Horizon series.
Right.
Did you see if that Horizon MMORPG does it come out? Does it come out on mobile?
I mean, I could see that as like a PC, mobile, PS5 thing. Like I could see them
Yeah.
doing it all three. I mean, why not?
I mean, I think that this also, like you said, follows that Microsoft deal
Yeah.
where they bought Activision Blizzard, King, that we have to keep saying because
Yes.
it's the billion-dollar industry that Microsoft's not in. And this is, you're right. I think this is definitely indeed Sony's way of getting into that.
We'll see.
Hopefully, they make a better PlayStation app.
Fingers crossed,
Thing
but
is slow and buggy, and I am telling you now, Sony, please fix it.
please, please, God.
Please.
Anyway,
All right. Let's get into our second music video
music.
game story. And hey, it's award season. Well,
Yes.
we are technically 2 weeks away. Wait, no, 1 week
No,
away.
1 week. It is Thursday next week. Next Thursday.
Well, yes, so we'll have a podcast before then.
We will.
But
But
we have some Game Award previews, as
yeah,
Microsoft is indeed teasing plans for some major Xbox announcements
you know,
at December's The Game Awards. In promotional materials distributed this week, the company said important announcements are planned for the event, along with other exciting Xbox news. It wrote, quote, celebrate the best games of the year and the big winners live at the Game Awards on 7 December at 1930 Eastern. I don't think that's right. That's 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Along with important announcements and other Xbox news that you don't want to miss. It's where close quote. It's where that you have both the military time and then the 4:30 Pacific Standard Time.
yeah, I didn't write it. I just copied and pasted it. It was Microsoft. So yeah, no, I realized that we all have a show on Tuesday before this, but I thought it was a slow news week, really, so I had to include something. But also, this is the first we're hearing that Microsoft is going to potentially have a big announcement. So, what do we think that it is?
So their last big announcement was Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
I say they announced Starfield 2.
No,
Okay,
it's not
Starfield
Starfield.
DLC,
No.
expansion to Starfield, Starfield Ear,
So, my prediction actually is more on
Starfield
hard.
Christmas Special.
No, that's funny though. No, I think it's hardware because think about it. Sony just put out a slim version of the PS5, and they also put out a version of their console with optional disk drive, that detachable, attachable disk drive thing. I think Microsoft was already going to do something like this, and this is where they dropped that. I think it's hardware. I think it is here's a new version of the Xbox Series X, not the S. The S will remain probably the same SKU that already exists. I think they reintroduced this a version of the Xbox Series X that doesn't have the disk drive in a similar way, is slightly smaller, digital only, and some sort of USB peripheral if you still want to buy a detached disk drive. I think that's what they do. It's not called the Slim, it's just called the Series X, and you just have and that's it'll go on sale in January.
So they're going to confuse their customers even more by calling them both the Series X, but one with a disk drive and one without a disk drive.
I think that's just the way that these consoles are going to be made going forward. I think they got burned, both Sony and Microsoft, when they decided to make one with and without, because everybody bought the disc one and the digital ones kind of just stayed around. The model is going diskless, I think, going forward. I think it's just, yeah, there's no reason for them to keep paying for like the Blu-ray rights, which they do have to do every time they make a box with them. I think that moving forward, they're just going to go all digital, and they're just slowly push us that direction. I know.
And
I
yet
like my 4K Ultra HD player.
I
I
know,
like
and
having
it
that as an
pushes it
option.
towards the discless society that Xbox, Best Buy, and Walmart are going towards, and just you can't buy discs anywhere
Yeah.
starting next year.
I know. But
Yeah.
or it could be a game. It could be a game. I don't know. Maybe Perfect Dark. Maybe we see the first gameplay of that. But I have a feeling my gut says console. My gut says revision of the Xbox Series X because I think they have to answer Sony.
Well, if they have to answer Sony, Sony also came out with the PlayStation Portal. Do
Yeah.
they make a mobile version?
No, because Xbox Live Anywhere works already on mobile and on everything. And they also have an agreement. They have a partnership with what's the other one that's not the Steam Deck? The ROG
Nvidia?
Ally. Yeah, or yeah, they have an agreement with Nvidia too for the what do they call it? The GeForce Now.
Yeah.
So I really don't think that it's in their best interest to do a portal like device.
I
We'll see.
mean, we'll see. We have 10 days, a week. I keep looking at November 7th. I know that's wrong.
Less than a week. Less than a week
It's
or a
10
little
days,
over a week.
a
A
little
little
over a
over a
week.
week.
Yeah. By the time you're listening to this, it'll be a week. Or if it's in the future, it'll be available right now.
Save that. Save that
Like,
energy for later.
yes, that goes
Uh
later.
yeah, I mean we'll see. But as of
I'm
right
warming
now,
up. I'm warming up the cadence for it.
yeah. And then next week we can talk about more kind of broadly what kind of announcements we expect from the Game Awards.
Yeah, especially when we should be seeing like previews like, hey, here's a little teaser. Be sure
Or
to tune in
leaks.
on the 7th.
Yeah, or
And the
potentially
leaks.
leaks, yeah, which could
Leaks,
happen at any
the
point.
leaks, the leaks.
The leaks.
All
Yeah.
right. Did you play anything?
Just more Fashion Dreamer. It's my daily game now. I pop in there, make an outfit of the day, an utada, if you will, and dress some people, and then I call it. Like, you know, I basically spend like an hour in it every day just doing some outfits, and it's great. I love that game.
Um, if you're following us on on twitch.tv/mediaboat, you notice that I went live this past Sunday as I cleaned up and platinum Spider-Man 2. So that's officially checkmarked off my list. Time to jump in and do the ultimate version. Or wait until New Game Plus.
Uh, Maybe wait.
Yeah. But hey, have fun doing it. I did realize that towards the end when I was doing the cleanup, that while there was some stuff that I missed, I pretty much did a lot of it, like going through the story, which probably meant why it took so long. About 20, 29, 27 hours to platinum. So probably could have done a bit faster in 25 if I really wanted to speed through it. But
Yeah.
hey, I enjoyed my time. It's fun. It's an enjoyable story. And talk about that next month.
We will. It won't take very long, folks. But yes, before that, though, let's move out of video games and talk about television as we move into the second half of the show here. And we always start television with the Sports Corner. We start the Sports Corner this week with a little sad story about a little coach on a little team named the Panthers on a little league named the NFL. He hasn't had a great.
The little coach that could.
Yeah, he hasn't had a great season, Frank Reich. Reich or Reich?
Frank Reich.
So I said it right the first time. Okay.
Yeah, you said right. Yes.
Yes. Well, now his season is over prematurely as the Panthers have fired him only 11 games into the current season. What do you think this is deserved?
I mean, considering that we had the ongoing joke that Bryce Young, the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, had not won a game until 10 weeks in. And then even then, lost the next game. I'd say it's one, kind of well deserved. Two, we saw this coming as he was just fired from Indianapolis and then immediately got another head coaching job. I don't know what they were expecting, but like we saw, like I guess people weren't paying attention to the Colts, unlike me. What happened in Indianapolis under him and how they plummeted to the bottom real quickly and got a top pick, only to go to the Panthers and once again plummet to the bottom. Except this time they're not going to get a top pick because they spent it getting their current quarterback, Bryce Young, and instead traded to the Bears. So now the Bears have a top pick next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, 11 games into the season. This is technically the second fastest firing into a season. That honor goes to 9 games into the season of Mr. Fisher.
Mm.
Not that Bobby Fisher.
Yeah, no. Different Fisher altogether.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, but maybe he'll find another team to get fired from.
Maybe he'll go to the college route. Maybe he'll be an offensive coordinator again somewhere, because that's what he was beforehand. But hey, maybe head coaching job is not for you at this point.
Might just not be very good at it. Turns out, but we'll see. What else in anything else happening in the NFL that's of note?
Yes, as mentioning of the Bears, the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields, even though they're saying had a game-winning drive last night during Monday Night Football, I do not count it as a game-winning drive because he did not score a touchdown that entire game. It was only a field goal at the end. They kicked 4 field goals to win the game. He sucks. He needs to be out, and he will be out the following season.
All right.
But I'm also not a Bears fan, so keep having him around. I like how much you guys suck.
Fair enough. All right. Then moving on to the NBA.
Real quick, other in the NFL, we're going to be in bipocalypse for fantasy football. Fantasy football playoffs are coming up soon, and we are currently on track to see the sack record in a single season be broken.
Oh.
Also, the receiving record by Tyreek Hill is on record being on pace of being broken. So keep an eye on those as we get into December towards the end of the year. 2 big, long-standing records in jeopardy of having a new leader.
All right. Keep your eyes peeled on that. Also, keep your eyes peeled to see those crazy floors as the NBA in-season tournament wraps up. We have the Pacers and the Lakers, both 4-0, have clinched their in-season tournament divisions.
Yep. They will continue for the next 2 weeks, and I believe the finals is December 10th, in 12 days. So that's in 2 weeks. We won't have a championship crowned next week, but we'll have it the following week when we record.
Got it. And then you don't have this little tidbit here, but I saw this on Twitter last night, that as of
LeBron.
Yes, LeBron now has the most minutes played in NBA history. Is that correct?
Yes. This was in the same game that he broke his streak of having at least 1 rebound in a game.
Wow.
Ever since he started, he's had at least 1 rebound, except this past game. So that streak is officially broken. Then again, I don't know if that was ever counted as a streak. It was just a really fun stat.
Yeah, it's more like a fun fact.
Yeah, but along with that, you could say, hey, it took him until playing the longest tenured, not longest tenured, the most minutes on a court,
right,
to finally not have a rebound.
There you go.
Which is a weird stat when you put it that way, but also technically accurate.
Technically accurate. Meanwhile,
but congratulations once again, LeBron, you passed Kareem for yet another record. How many more ghosts do you need to kill, or do you need to capture
before he wraps it up? I don't know. Yeah, what if that? Ooh, that's a good plot for a movie. What if superstar basketball player is literally being haunted by the spirit of the most famous Hall of Fame players in his game, and the only way he vanquishes them is by being the best in every category, and it ruins him.
Or just a superstar basketball player has a Christmas Carol like dream before the Christmas Day game that he's going to play in, and thus like break the records of these famous people.
This is good. This is good. We're on to something
call it
here.
A Courtmas Carol.
No, we will come up with a different name. But solid idea. I'm glad no one listens to this podcast. No one take this idea. No one take this. We're gonna write it
This is
down, put it in an
ours.
envelope. We're gonna put it in an envelope. We're gonna send it to ourselves. We're gonna take
We're gonna take our own credit.
anyways, put that in your pocket. Keep that for later. Let's move on. College football continues. The NCAA title games include the Pac-12 the 6th seed Oregon versus the 4th seed Washington. The Big 12 has the 20 seed Oklahoma State versus the 7th seed Texas.
These are ranked, not seeds.
Well, you have to tell me these things.
Well, I was wondering why you're saying seeds, and then it hit me. You had said 20th seed. Like, no, that's not right.
Ranked?
Yes, the AP
Why
ranks.
is the 20th ranked?
Because they do the top 25. That's why.
Okay. All right.
But yes, because they split into two divisions, like a North and a South division. That's why Oklahoma State, ranked 20th, is going up against Texas, who is currently ranked 7th.
Ranked. Got it.
Yes.
You need to put words here.
Sorry.
And then the Big 10, the number 3 ranked Michigan versus the 17th ranked Iowa.
Yes.
And the SEC, the number 1 ranked Georgia versus the number 8 ranked Alabama. And the ACC, the number 10 ranked Louisville versus the number 5 ranked Florida State.
Now you'll notice that in this Google Doc that we have, I've got some little notations going on here because,
yes,
as you pointed out, the number 1 team in Georgia, the number 2 team, not number 2 team, number 3 team in Michigan, number 4 team in Washington, and number 5 team in Florida State are all currently who's number 2? Oh, sorry. They have this messed up here. Sorry. Number 2 is Michigan. I was looking at the previous 6. Number 3 is Washington, and number 4 is Florida State.
That's go.
That's more accurate. Okay, so with number 1 seed, number 1 ranked Georgia, number 2 ranked Michigan.
You did it too. I'm not alone.
Yes, I said seed. I know. So with the top 4 ranked teams playing this upcoming weekend, all 4 of them are currently undefeated, currently standing at 12-0. If they all win their games, all 4 of them will be going to the college football playoffs. Just unquestioned, unabashed. You 4 are currently the top teams. You're going in, done. Meaning they have the most to lose should they lose this upcoming game.
Seems like it. Yeah, I would hate to lose to a 20th ranked team.
Oh no, see, that's Texas versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's bad.
Yeah, but should one of these teams fall, that leaves the door open for either Oregon, Alabama, Texas, or the Ohio State to potentially get into the college football playoffs, as they all have 1 loss. It also depends on how close these games are. And if they get blown out, then they're clearly not going to get into the playoffs. But currently, those are going to be your 4 teams, should they win. And that's a big should. But yeah, that's Big 10, Big 12, SEC, and Pac-12. The fledgling last Pac-12 championship game between Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not noted here, but this past week was the last regular season game of the Pac-12 as it currently stands. RIP, congratulations. You ruined it.
Oh, well.
But
yeah, the mess will start next year. We have this brief period before the mess where we can still enjoy it.
Yes. Before Cal is considered part of the ACC.
Yes. Ugh. We'll figure it out.
Anyways, last bit of note here in the NCAA games that the Big 12 game, even though Texas is not, Texas has to win and then by a big margin, and then someone has to fall of those 4 teams in order for them to get the nod. But basically they have to, 1, establish dominance, and 2, maybe establish the quarterback of the future, that is Arch Manning, to come in and take over the reins.
Oh no, he's there. He's
Yes.
finally coming. The prodigal son has returned.
He played for one series this past weekend only because they were up 50-7, and they said, okay, redshirt freshman Arch Manning, go in. You have one series. We'll see what you can do.
Hey, quick question.
Go
See if I can
ahead.
do this with a straight
Quick
face.
answer.
Yeah. To the person that is trying to vie for his spot, is that his arch rival?
It's funny you say that because technically his arch rival is Mr. NIL himself that we talked about 2 years ago, Quentin Ewers,
Oh wow. Okay. So
when
yes.
he forewent his senior year to go to the Ohio State a year early to cash in on his NIL deal. And then he left the Ohio State and went to Texas.
There
So
you go.
yes,
So yes,
we have
arch
talked
rival.
about his rival.
His arch rival.
Yes.
All right. Well, I look forward to hear more about Arch Manning in the coming
And I
week.
look forward to eventually having him on my fantasy team.
Well, good luck with that. Let's move on. Any other sports news before we move on from sports?
Hockey continues to hockey.
It does.
Nothing of interesting. One thing of interesting happened this week. Sorry, today I saw
one
this.
thing of interesting.
Yes, because I saw it literally like an hour ago. For former Blackhawk and former retired Blackhawk Patrick Kane, who underwent like surgery and like basically called it quits last year, is back. He signed a 1-year deal, not with the Blackhawks, but said with the Detroit Red Wings, and people are up in arms going, what the hell are you doing? But yeah, Kane is now the 9-time All-Star. Patrick Kane is now a Detroit Red Wing.
All right.
So that's the big hockey news that
Biggest
happened.
hockey news. Anything else
Anything else?
in sports?
Oh, technically not a sport, but this past weekend, we had the Thanksgiving Day dog show.
Yes, not a sport.
No. But the okay, who won?
It was Stash,
Yes.
who I believe, what kind of dog? What breed of dog is Stash?
No, not the French bulldog Winston. That was last year's.
That was last year.
Yes. Yeah, Stash.
Hold while we search for this dog.
This damn dog. Okay, yeah, because Stash was a. Why are these all videos? I don't want a video. Just give me a Steel Ham Terrier.
There we go. But yes,
Yeah, winner of this year's Best in Show at the National Dog Show.
Yes, I also watched this, and congratulations to Stash. He looked like a cotton ball on the bottom, and that's very endearing.
Yes. Also funny that his name was Stash, and he had just the longest mutton chops.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Although my favorite and the bug I was rooting for was the Dalmatian.
Yeah.
Because it was called Pumpkin.
Yeah, Pumpkin was good.
Pumpkin was good.
That was a good one. All right, enough about that. Let's move on because we need to move on to some television news.
Yes, we had a big delay there for the dogs. A literal dog stop.
Dog stop.
Dog delay.
But now we have some
dog DeLong.
We have some TV bits to talk about. Starting with Mark Cuban is leaving Shark Tank after 16 seasons.
Sorry, no, that's after the upcoming 16th season.
Has he not been on there since the beginning?
Technically, no.
No.
He was not. He
Oh,
joined in about season 3, so he's been there since for 13 seasons, I think. But Mark Cuban, big investor, big Shark Tank guy.
yeah,
Most people want to work with him.
yeah.
Uh,
So kind of
Still the
surprising.
current owner of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I guess he just wants to do one fewer thing in his schedule, which I get. I get it.
yeah, I get
Sure.
it. I mean, most people do tune in for Mark Cuban, so we'll see if some of these ratings start plummeting from it. But hey,
We'll see. Speaking of taking some time off, but this time for a different reason altogether, Stephen Colbert is taking a week off of the late late night because he has suffered a ruptured appendix. So yes, guests will be in his spot till he recovers.
yes, this also does follow the past week that they had to do late night from home because of a
Yes,
COVID outbreak.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah,
um,
rough
even in
rough
his old
time.
age, Stephen Colbert gets a ruptured appendix,
Yeah,
and
thanks.
I know about that this year
You know
now. So thank
all
you
about.
for that.
Yes, you know all about what he's going through right now. So
Yes.
hope Stephen makes a fine recovery from that. As you mentioned, Thanksgiving just happened, but before the dog show, there was the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which we, of course, also watched, and so did 28.5 million other viewers, as it turns out that this year's parade was the largest ever recorded audience for the parade. I'm kind of
Yay!
shocked by this, considering that
But
like it's been on as long as it has, and fewer people ostensibly are watching television than ever. So how did they manage to pull this off?
I honestly don't know. I tried to find like something that said like, "Hey, why did everyone
Yeah.
decide to tune in this year?"
What
And
was the previous record? I really I wonder now.
I don't know. I mean, the current record is for all like sports, but still,
Maybe. I mean,
28.5 million viewers.
record for the Macy's parade is what I specifically was
Uh,
referring to. Because 28 is not big compared to if you look up like the biggest finale, like the MASH finale in the 70s. Like there are bigger, or the 80s, there are bigger numbers in general. But for the Macy's parade, it's interesting that 28 is somehow a record for it.
yeah, I mean, most of it was dominated by the 20, the 18 to 49 age group. You know, that
Yeah.
core demographic.
Yeah.
Technically, it's up 6% from last year,
Very
so
good.
it's actually like 3 million there.
Oh, all right.
Uh, yeah, been televised since 1932. Wait, no, televised parade since 1953. The parade's been going on since 1924.
That's a long ass time.
Mm-hmm.
That thing's been on forever. But yeah, it's especially strange because I felt like this parade this year was actually kind of forgettable. I don't remember much of what happened.
What, you don't remember the Palestine protester?
I do remember that. That was pretty cool to see. But I don't remember most of anything else. I remember that one piece guy's hat didn't look like it inflated correctly.
Yeah, every time they rounded the corner, it seemed like the front part of all the balloons
Yeah.
on the left side
We're all
got
like
deflated
deflated.
somehow.
Yeah. I don't know. Also, balloons were really low to the ground this year.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that was like a
high
weather
wind probably.
thing. Yeah, maybe.
Don't
Anyway.
want to run away, Snoopy.
But yeah, the story really was that yeah, more people than ever watched it, which yeah, pretty wild.
Yep.
But let's move on to our third story here for the bits. This is a little bit of a follow up from last week when we talked about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, now on Netflix. Well, in some interviews, creators Brian Lee O'Malley and Ben David Grabinsky stated that they're not currently planning a sequel or a second season to the show. They intended it as a one and done kind of thing, but of course they can't make any like predictions about what might happen. Anything can happen, but they are getting it established as of now. There is no plans for a season 2.
They're getting out of the way, saying that they used all the concepts they wanted to do
Yes.
into this one season. They
Yes.
currently don't have anything working on anything else that they want to kind of mull over, bring in for a second or third season.
Mm-hmm. Bless you.
Thank you. It's also said that it would take about 20 different miracles for them to even make a follow-up to this. So
I
what we got
believe
is what we
that.
got, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I believe it. And there are a couple things about that. One, I think it's fine. I think it works standalone, despite the little silly tease at the end of the credits. I think that it makes sense for this to be its own little story. I just hope, for the love of God, that they do a physical release at some point, because I know it's Netflix and they don't tend to do that for all of their stuff. But this seems to be an exception to me. This feels like it should be an exception. If there's a physical version of this, I think that's fine, because I worry that sometime down the line they will not have this available for us, and I want to have at least the ability to own it. So yeah, but otherwise, this decision makes sense. It is its own story, and it did what it meant to do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, follow up from last week we talked about our. If you want to hear our thoughts on Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, take a
Yes.
listen to last week's episode,
Or
or take a
tune
listen
into
to
the
like
wrap up.
4
Yeah,
episodes in the future.
where we'll be there again. For now, that'll do it for TV
Spoilers
bits.
or
Yes,
foreshadow,
spoilers.
but
Oh, for
yes.
sure. For sure. But we do have one more story in TV news, and it's all about some Squid Games.
That's a
Specifically,
good Chiron.
specifically Squid Game: The Challenge, the new game show based on the Squid Game concept that's on Netflix. Well, three contestants are super happy with their experience on Squid Game: The Challenge, and are threatening legal action against Netflix and producers after claiming they were injured during the filming of the game show. The contestants' allegations concern their experience shooting the show's opening game, Red Light, Green Light. A British personal injuries law firm is representing two unnamed players who say they suffered hypothermia and nerve damage while shooting in cold conditions in the UK. The game was filmed at Cardington Studios, a former Royal Air Force base in Bedford, during a cold snap in Britain. And Netflix confirmed at the time that 3 of the 456 players required medical attention. Quote, contestants thought they were taking part in something fun, and those injured did not expect to suffer as they did. Now they have been left with injuries after spending time being stuck in painful stress positions in cold temperatures, end quote. Yeah, I'd say that they probably have a case here.
Do they?
Well, none of the concept of this show says to me, you will suffer hypothermia. Yes, you might be in compromising positions. You might be doing strenuous activity, but none of that to me says, oh yeah, by the way, it's going to be freezing cold in there.
Well, no, honestly, I'm stuck with the first sentence of contestants thought they were taking part in something fun. Did they watch Squid Game?
Are you saying this is user error? That like they
Yes,
were
this is
like,
user error.
why did you
how do you get
that...
injured playing red light, green light? Like the concept is you move, green light, red light, you stop. How you stop is up to you. That feels like user error.
I don't know. I still feel like they have a case. I mean, there are certain things you expect, and there are certain things you don't expect. I think that their specific injuries fall under not expected. I think that was not something that they signed up for. At least
They
that part.
fall under non-contact injuries, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you what that actually means for the case. But
right, but I do also expect them to bring in the other 453 players and say, sorry, 52 players, because one of them's going to win and be like, I had a great time. So the other 452 players and be like, how was your experience playing red light, green light?
Well,
seeing as they probably didn't go further than this.
I would imagine. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the case goes, if they seem to agree or disagree or what. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, the fact that we knew about this previously, a year in advance, because Netflix came out and originally said that yes, 3 people were injured, or 3 people needed medical attention, meaning hypothermia, it was cold, they got the attention needed, what have you. So Netflix knew about this. Just here we are now that the actual episode is out, or episodes, that now a lawsuit is being brought forward.
I'm just saying, contrary to what we were told in the 90s, illegitimate lawsuits, frivolous lawsuits are rarer than you think. And I think that they still have potentially have a case here, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. But anyways, let's talk about the other
here. Yes,
453 people.
Yeah, the real user error was that you watched Squid Game: The Challenge on Netflix. Tell me how, if you were put in a compromised position.
Well, see, that's the thing with Squid Game. The initial setup is that these are people in compromised positions financially,
right?
So they have to participate within Squid Games in order to basically make money, get the money, erase their debt, like pull themselves out of whatever financial stress they have.
Yeah.
They try and do the same thing here and say, like, yes, I'm coming to the Squid Games because I want to win. Like, I watched the show. I think I can do good. I have these like student debts, medical debts, housing debt, what have you, that I feel like that winning this money can change my life. Which, when you put it at $10,000 per person, it comes out to like $4.5 million on the line. Yeah, $4.5 million is a lot to change your life like immediately.
Oh yeah.
But then also, you're kind of missing the whole point of what Squid Games is.
I mean, yes.
Yes, we knew this when we talked about like this even being floated as a concept.
It's a bad idea.
Yes.
Let's make that clear here. It's a bad idea. They should not have done this.
Well, yes, it's a bad idea, but also just the games that they have them do is they try and like make it as faithful to the show as possible, while also not putting in anyone in any type of excessive strenuous activity where physical harm is encouraged, let's say. Much like with red light, green light, you don't have to touch anyone else. You just have to move forward, stop, move forward. The second game being the candy game. It's all like internal. Like you and the cookie trying to get it out. And then what would have been the third game of tug of war got changed because you can't have physical altercations with the contestants. So it got changed instead to battleship, which I thought was a good twist because people are coming when they started people lining up like, "Ooh, I want all the strongest people. Like, get over here. We know what this is." And then it turned out to be battleship. And it was like, "Oh no, what are we doing?" So that was a nice twist. Trying to get a one up on the players who think they know what's coming.
Sure.
But otherwise, just the commentary that they make between the games of, wow, like that person lost. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. Like, yes, you knew that was going to happen. You know you're not supposed to make friends here. That's the whole point of it, that eventually someone's going to stab you in the back. And yes, at any point, players can get eliminated for anything. It's all a game. It's all continuously a game. And yet here they are, just be like, wow, I didn't expect that. Like, you know what you signed up for. It's the one thing you expect. People, like, yes, they're not dying in front of you, but at the same time, they're getting eliminated. You can't, like, what's the point of forming these bonds if you know 455 of them are going to lose?
Yeah.
And you may be in one of those 455. You have a better odds of being in the 455 losers than you do in being the one winner. That's how math works.
Yeah, turns out.
So just the concept is chaos. I mean, I don't know what people expect when they signed up for this. Like, oh, I mean, like the quote says, like, oh, I thought we were going to take part in something fun.
Mhm.
And I didn't expect to get so emotionally involved with everyone. It was like, did you even watch and understand the concept of the Squid Games?
Honestly, I think that that's maybe part of the requirement for any reality show. I've noticed this watching more reality shows. It seems like half the contestants to all these things don't actually know what they're getting into. Like, did you watch the show before you joined on? No, you didn't. Why? It's right there. Years of reference material.
I like when they bring on, especially in Survivor,
Yeah.
like those one or two contestants be like, I've
I've never
never
seen the
watched
show.
this show. My kids watch it. My kids love it. They wanted me to sign up. They're the ones who pushed me to sign up. I don't know what I'm getting myself into.
Baffling.
And
Baffling.
then you have
Doesn't make
them
any
like up
sense.
against like the super fan who's like, I've watched every season. I know every tactic. I'm gonna find that idol and I'm gonna make alliances.
Yeah, okay. Anyway. But yeah, so
Anyways,
overall though, does it even at least try to like seem necessary, or does this just seem like this shouldn't have happened?
I mean, I feel like it shouldn't have happened, especially with 456 different players,
Yeah.
and half of them immediately get eliminated after red light, green light, because you can't have that many people and focus on that many storylines. So
Right.
it
Too
feels
much
like these
cat. Too
first couple
much.
episodes, you have just a lot of people being eliminated because you need to pare it down to a handful of players that you actually care about to try and see who's going to win.
Right.
Unlike, say, the other South Korean game that I talked about earlier, the
Mm-hmm.
Devil's Plan, which was a handful of players that you were immediately invested in, or
Yeah.
even Physical 100, where they did the same thing of immediately eliminated a bunch of players, but at least you get to see some like extraneous physical combat between them. Combat.
Combat.
Um, but yeah, it's I don't know what they expected. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
It's just one thing like watching is like whenever they cut away from the games, they just always talk about like, I can't believe this is happening. I don't know what to do. Like the game is real. It's like, of course it's real. What did you expect?
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Anyways,
let's move on. You watch something else though that's completely different.
uh yeah, I also watched, and I mentioned this, so now I'm gonna come around and talk about it
Yes.
in general. The Brie Larson hiding away on Apple TV Plus in the show Lessons in Chemistry, based off the book of the same name.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked this. In fact, I liked it so much, it made me want to go back and watch 2015's or 2016's Room, where
Oh
Brie
yeah.
Larson won her Academy Award from. Because,
Right.
like, yeah, I like Brie Larson in this. She's definitely a good actor. And I was
Pretty
like,
good.
you know what? Yeah, she's pretty good in this. And I was like, yeah, let me go back and watch like the thing that like actually won her the statue. I was like, oh yeah, she is good in this. Because it's been what? Oh god, that was 6 years ago, 7 years ago now, something like that. So yeah, it's but not about room. Talk about lessons in chemistry. Kind of the same thing that you were mentioning about pre-podcast about watching Julia,
Mhm.
the Julia Child, where
Yeah.
it's about someone about a female icon uh, on TV in the 50s who cooks and basically speaks and has a good relationship with her audience, but is being overrun and overthought by producers, male dominant chauvinistic producers. But here's the kicker, and what makes it interesting is that she's not a traditional cook.
Mhm.
She's just does it because it helps calm her, because cooking is a science and she is a chemist,
Right.
thus lessons in
And lessons
chemistry.
in chemistry. That's
Yes,
right.
yes, the title lessons in
Yes,
chemistry
right there.
of both her being a chemist, but also chemistry in the kitchen, but also chemistry and reactions amongst the people in her life and her friends and people in throughout her life, and the connections and reactions that happen at times because it is based on the book very circumstantial, I will add, that, oh, this person just happens to have had a previous relationship with this other person who now has a current relationship with this other person, and they're all tied in together.
Mm-hmm.
So at times it does get into very much that, well, this seems a bit too convenient, don't you think? But then at other times, especially at the very end, when you get through the eighth episode, really short, only 8 episodes, that, oh, what I thought was going to be it turns out to be a twist at the end, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't see it coming. But also, like, it does make sense as to like why everything was built upon, built upon, built upon. It's a good show, probably a good book. I didn't read the book. It's just sitting next to me when I saw it. But yeah, it's a fun show. It's a quick show. I don't think there's gonna be a season 2 in this, especially with the way they ended. It just seemed very finality of, we're just gonna do the book. This
Yeah.
isn't gonna be like all was it Million Little Fires
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
Hulu. That sound like 4 seasons past the book.
Right.
It feels like this is just gonna be about the book. They wrapped it up. The little girl in this, the daughter who plays Mad, excellent in this thing. I expect more from her going forward. Expect her to be more of like the go-to kid of, give me that kid, give me that girl, and to like make that jump to movies, kind of like the Dakota Fanning of her generation. I could see that happening. Real good, real good acting. Like all the story beats here, like all the sets design takes place in like the late 50s. So you do have,
Mm-hmm.
there is that running line of like the racial integration and like the freeway projects. I wish that had a better storyline, but it also feels like at times it's shoehorned in.
Yeah.
But by the time you get to like the 7th or 8th episode, it feels like, oh, that's how it's all connected. And that's more or less how I feel about this series, is that the first 3 episodes is, I feel like, all set up, and then it's like, okay, now we're gonna start making connections as we go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's how all these people are connected. So yeah,
Okay.
connections and reactions in lessons in chemistry.
I mean, that makes sense because that's what chemistry is.
Yes.
Series of connections and reactions.
So an apt name for a book and series.
That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. If I can carve out the thing about TV shows is that you have to carve out often 8 to 10 hours. And I just don't know if I'll have that before we do our wrap up. So we'll see if I can manage it. But
Yeah, it's
seems
about
interesting.
3 hours, 40-minute episodes, 8 episodes.
All right, yeah. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. All right, let's move on then into some cancellations and renewals. Why
What am
don't
I
we?
no longer watching?
You're no longer watching With Love, comma, canceled after 2 seasons on Prime Video. Also canceled on Prime Video, The Horror of Dolores Roach after just 1 season. Also on Prime Video, a three-peat for you this week, Harlan Coben's Shelter, canceled after 1 season. Then TBS also, not to be outdone, Miracle Workers canceled after 4 seasons.
Which I believe was their final live show that they originally produced.
Yes, I believe so. That was the last of the Zaslav cuts.
I mean, technically the last one is going to be whenever American Dad gets cut.
Yeah, that's eventually gonna happen, right?
But
Then
outside of that, yeah,
yeah,
I think this is the last live action original scripted series.
yeah. Meanwhile, we have one death to talk about real briefly here. Joss Ackland, age 95. Actor was in White Mischief, Lethal Weapon 2, and The Mighty Ducks, among others.
If that name doesn't sound familiar, you will definitely recognize him, especially our generation, from The Mighty Ducks, as he was Hans, the shop owner and
Okay,
maker of the D2 jerseys in Mighty Ducks 2.
got it. Well, there you go. Age 95. All right, let's move on into the last section here, movies, where we always start with the movies, with the weekend box office numbers. And we have some 5-day numbers for you, thanks to the Thanksgiving weekend.
So even though these numbers might sound normal,
yeah,
they're not. They are the inflated 5-day Thanksgiving Day weekend totals.
So benefiting from that extra time, at number 1 is The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes with $42 million this week. That's at a $98 million domestic total so far.
That will cross the 100 mark.
Yes, guaranteed. Number 2, Napoleon with a $32 million debut this week. Number 3, Wish with a disappointing $31 million debut. Disney needed that to be better, but like I said, the word of mouth isn't happening. Positive buzz is not happening yet. Number 4, Trolls Band Together, another disappointing week with only 25 million. That's at 64 total. And round out your top 5, Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving for $10 million this week with a $24 million total. The other debut this week, The Holdovers, way down at number 7 with $3.7 million. So not a great week for movies, but not a great year for box office. And when you think about it.
No, just a quick note that especially the movie theaters are hoping for a big December Christmas kind of showings.
Yes.
But that is mainly going to be bolstered by 2 Warner Brothers films, Wonka, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Yeah, and Warner Brothers also had the one big win of the year, Barbie. So they're already doing okay. But Disney this year is just a shell of its former self. We joked on this show how several years in a row Disney movies were in the top, 4 out of the top 5 films of the year for a while there. They had a crazy streak. That streak is over.
Yep. This year ended that streak.
It did. Brutally.
I mean, I guess you could say both the writer strike, actor strike, and COVID combination killed that streak. So
yeah, Disney really needs to rethink. But before that, we do have new releases this week. 2 new releases coming out on Friday. First of all, the one that everyone will see, Renaissance, a film by Beyonce, continuing what I'm dubbing the year of the concert film. So yeah, if you want to see Beyonce's Renaissance tour and you didn't get $1,000 tickets, hey, here's an opportunity. And then also this week, Silent Night, which of course a Christmas themed horror movie.
So, with an apt Christmas themed title.
Yes, makes sense. Silent Night, very funny. Let's jump into some movie news, and of course, this time of year means award season begins here. That should be an exclamation point, not a question mark, because it's more like we know it begins here because the Gotham Awards.
Also, that should be their tagline: Gotham Awards. Award season begins here.
Because yes, the Gotham Awards happened. Past Lives was your big winner on Monday evening, taking home the top prize for Best Feature. Meanwhile, acting honors were won by Charles Melton for his supporting performance in Todd Haynes' May December, starting what some people on Twitter noted the Riverdale to Academy Awards pipeline. Which we're very excited. Here in this household, we're very excited for Charles Melton and his award chances. Then also Lily Gladstone for her lead performance in The Unknown Country. Meanwhile,
and not for her performance in Killers of a Flower Moon.
Right. Crucially. Also, Anatomy of a Fall was able to win Best International Feature and Best Screenplay. Netflix's Beef walked away with awards for Breakthrough Television and Outstanding Performance in a New Series for Ali Wong. A.V. Rockwell won Breakthrough Director for 1001, and A Small Light won Breakthrough TV over 40 minutes for Nat Geo.
Hey, I'm happy for that one.
Yeah, you liked that.
Yeah.
So the first seeds of award season, we'll see whether or not this repeats going forward as the season goes on. We'll track those favorites and see what their chances are in the Oscar discussion.
Yep. But right now, if you're looking for early talks, Past Lives is the current go-to, basically standard that everyone's going to be going up against now.
So when are Oscar noms? They happen sometime this month, right?
They happen, I want to say, on the 12th. We talked about this last week, I think.
Okay, 12th. All right, look forward to those.
Yep.
One movie that's already been in the Oscar discussion ahead of the nominations here is Killers of the Flower Moon. In fact, you just mentioned it yourself. It's in the news though this week for other reasons, altogether unrelated to the film itself, but related to Robert De Niro.
Right. The Oscar nom ballots were sent out because of the actors and the writer's strike.
Right.
The nominations will be on January 23rd.
January 23rd. So not this month and next month. Got it. All right. Well, anyways, back to Robert De Niro. So in a speech that he read during Monday's Gotham Awards, he discovered that the speech he planned to give had been altered. Apple, the film's producer, was responding to feedback from the filmmaking team that wanted the actor's remarks to be centered on the movie and not to include comments about the current political climate. That's according to a source. De Niro, who was on hand to present Killers of the Flower Moon with the Gotham historical icon and creator tribute, criticized the award show and Apple. Quote, "I don't feel like thanking them at all for what they did," he said. "How dare they do that, actually?" A revised version of the speech was delivered to the teleprompter less than 10 minutes before the event started with the new text, which omitted explicit references to Donald Trump. It instead had De Niro reference how, quote, "watching the news today," unquote, makes it clear that, quote, "we actually are living in a post-truth society," end quote. De Niro did get a chance to level his criticism, reading his remarks from his phone. Quote, "Lying has become just another tool in the charlatan's arsenal," De Niro said. "The former president lied to us more than 30,000 times during his 4 years in office, and he's keeping up the pace in his current campaign of retribution. But with all his lies, he can't hide his soul. He attacks the weak, destroys the gifts of nature, and shows disrespect, for example, by using Pocahontas as a slur." And I'm sure it goes on from there. But yeah, the important part to know is the Gotham Awards, unfortunately, did not tell, or Apple, the producers of the film, did not tell De Niro that his speech was being altered. I think that that's pretty messed up. And it worries me going into the rest of these awards. This is kind of a topic that we brought up with the video game awards a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, same thing goes here. Like, this is going to be an opportunity for a lot of people to have a moment to mention their feelings about major political things, whether it be Donald Trump, whether it be what's happening in Gaza, whatever it be, whatever. And I would like us to be living in a world where these people are allowed to say these things. The worry, of course, is if this happens again and throughout the entirety, say, of a Oscars broadcast, that could be really disappointing.
Which this then becomes, actually, no. There's just this whole, like, rewriting of the speeches and putting it into the teleprompter in general becomes very worrisome, as people are, and presenters are told beforehand what it is they're going to say. They usually work with the writers to say, hey, this is, especially with Robert De Niro, who worked on Killers of the Flower Moon, is going to be presenting Killers of the Flower Moon, saying,
right,
this is what I'm going to say about this film.
Right.
This is what I'm going to say as it gets accepted for the historical icon and creator tribute, only for it to be immediately removed and him not being told. Yeah. I mean, he literally pulled out his phone and read his own copy of what he was originally going to say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's just messed up.
One, it's messed up. Two, it's messed up that I did for this film in particular, because the film itself is about silencing Native Americans.
Right.
Not to say that Darth Vader is a Native American, but just say that the whole concept of the film is about silencing a certain voice.
Speech is important, and the ability to speak out when there's oppression, or when there are a cavalcade of lies, or if there is a mistreatment of an office. Like, all these things are important to talk about, and this is an opportunity for people to talk about them and get everybody talking about it because of it. Even though these people, have certain amounts of power, they don't have that much power. Obviously, there's a lot they can't change, but what they can do is get a conversation started, and that's where change happens. But you can't start a conversation if you're literally being stifled and quieted. So, yeah, I'm hoping this doesn't become a trend. I'm hoping this conversation that's happening about Robert De Niro's speech gets this to not happen in the future award shows that we're looking forward to. We'll see.
I understand where the Apple's coming from, because the that section of talking about the former president has nothing to do with the film itself that he's
Yeah.
presenting,
Or does
but
it?
the
Or does
concept of
it?
it,
Yeah.
the concept of political figures lying to people
Yeah.
is indeed what the film is about. That's one of the core themes of Killers of the Flower Moon.
Right. So, anyways, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed that these guys don't make that mistake again. All right. Last thing before we move out of TV news, one little TV tidbit, little nugget, or sorry, not TV, movies, movie tidbit for y'all. If you happen to have missed the Eras Tour, the Taylor Swift Eras Tour film in theaters, don't worry, you'll get another chance to catch it at home for rent. Yes, Taylor has confirmed that on the 13th of December, aka her 34th birthday, the Eras Tour film will be available on services such as YouTube, Amazon, where you can rent films.
Google, Apple, where you're
Platform,
able, yeah.
and you'll be able to rent, not buy, rent a new version, a new expanded version of the Eras Tour film. It includes 3 songs not included in the theatrical release, including The Archer and Wildest Dreams. I'm forgetting the third one at the moment.
And why she is not calling this the Eras Tour Taylor's version is beyond me.
She's keeping that for the one you can buy. Nice.
Whereas with the extended version,
extended
because this is the Eras Tour, the concert film extended version, not Taylor's version like it should be.
So it's a stopgap measure. What it doesn't answer is the 2 other burning questions, which is this coming to streaming ever? And 2, when can I buy it on disc? And for now, those questions will remain unanswered, probably for the rest of the calendar year. We'll find out in 2024.
I mean, we all know that she's doing this because she needs more money, right?
Yeah, she needs so much. She's poor.
She didn't make enough of the 170 whatever $1 million at the box office that it did.
Yeah. All right. Did you watch any movies this week?
I've been watching Christmas movies.
That does not count.
Technically, it does. I watched Jingle Jangle for the first time.
That's not a 2023 release.
That's a 2020 release.
Yes. Also, delicious food from Trader Joe's. But yes, tell me about Jingle. Also, a drug in the Riverdale universe. Jingle Jangle is so many things. But yes, Jingle Jangle, the film.
Oh, no, I'm not here to talk about it. I'm just telling you that I watched it.
Okay. Well, anything in 2023 that you watched?
No.
So I watched a film from 2023. I'll be very brief here because I know we should be done. But what I will say is, minor rebuttal. This is something that you had talked about a couple of weeks ago. I ended up just watching on a whim No Hard Feelings.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to watch Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken.
No, Ruby Gillman, no.
Teenage Kraken, Ruby Gillman.
Every time, I just can't unhear it. No, I watched No Hard Feelings. I think you're wrong.
Oh, you think it's good?
I think it's all right.
Okay.
I went in thinking it was going to be this raunchy sex comedy. I thought it was going to be predictable, and it surprised me on both counts. I think it actually has a surprisingly strong emotional heart to it. I ended up really caring for the characters. I do have to say the weakest part is Act 3. I think it ends really weird. The ending is fine. I think that there's a weird patch from, like, if I was talking script wise, from like page, let's say 100 to 107. It's kind of awkward, and I feel like it gets there. And then when it finally gets over that hump, I think it ends pretty well. But the first 2 acts, I think, are actually pretty good. I think that's a good script. Again, minus a few pages down near the end. I thought it actually subverts a lot of things that I thought it was going, a lot of those cliches that you spoke about when you were talking about it, in ways that surprised me. I don't think it was super predictable. I think that it plays around with the audience's expectations of what they think the film is, and doesn't give you what you actually think the film is, except for like a couple of exception scenes. Like, yes, is there a scene where you have to watch a guy barf into a toilet? Yes, of course there is. Is there a scene where he punches somebody in the throat? Yes, those do exist in this film. But what also exists in this film are some really surprisingly tender moments. some surprisingly deep conversations between characters that I didn't think were going to go in the directions that they did. Also, it's a script that thinks you're smarter than you would think than like most films of the same kind are. It doesn't telegraph when it could. It actually the dialogue is smart enough to let you fill in some gaps, I think, in a lot of places. And I was pretty shocked with the quality of the writing. I think we watched two different movies.
I think we did. Or that, or I've watched more movies than you, and the movies that they're the things of the tropes that I think are cliche are new to you because you don't watch those kind of movies on a regular basis.
I don't know about that. What I will say is, yeah, I was surprised with it. I think it was funnier than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be. Minus, like I said, that speed bump in Act 3. But other than that, yeah, I was surprised with how much I liked it.
Okay.
So,
maybe that was the goal all along, to lower your expectations.
No, they were pretty low, I will say. So yeah, anyway. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
All right.
It won't be on my end of year list, though, just to assure you that we're not going to have to talk about it again.
That's okay. But that does bring us to a good topic for the next 10 minutes as we wrap up here. What will be the plan going forward for end of the year lists?
So in the past, our end of the year lists have spanned the month of December, and this year will be no different. We will be recording shortly and be uploading every week a new episode of our wrap-up series. If you're new to us, basically each wrap-up episode takes one of our categories, for example, film, and has both our a recap of the year, our top story that we determine of the year in that category, and then our individual top 5 lists of our favorite things from that category. So, for example, favorite movies of the year. We'll be doing that for each category each week of December, leading to a final week of December. I believe that will work out. Does that math work out? Let's see. Sunday.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, with Sunday, our Sunday, final Sunday, always being on the 31st.
On the 31st, New Year's Eve. So, and then on wrapping up on New Year's Eve, we will have a wrap-up episode where we talk about the year that was and the year that will be in the future, where we look forward in our crystal ball to 2024.
We'll talk about this more, but since that is on a Sunday, maybe we should do a live show.
We could do a live show. We'll see. But in the meantime, get ready. Those episodes will show up in your existing podcast feed. We may or may not do YouTube versions of that. I'm not sure if we're going to do video.
Typically, we haven't in the past. It's just been capturing in the... But seeing how we do get our most views on YouTube...
And considering the way we're doing it remote this year, then maybe we could... Because it's probably going to be no different than what we're doing right now. So maybe YouTube too. Maybe they'll be on YouTube too. And yes, we'll have some brief write-ups as well on the Media Boat Podcast website for each of these as well. So look forward to all that. So we leave you this week with a peek into the future. We'll be back for a regular show, though, before all that happens on Tuesday the 7th, Pearl Harbor Day for y'all. Or actually, no.
Nope. That's Tuesday the 5th.
That's Tuesday the 5th.
Again, you're doing what I was doing, looking at November calendar.
The wrong month. Sorry. Tuesday the 5th, we will be back with the regular episode of the show. And then starting on... So actually, no, you will hear the first episode of...
On the 6th.
The wrap-up before that on the 3rd.
Wait. Oh, that's we're going to launch them on Sundays?
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's perfect 5 days.
Yeah, 4 and then 5.
So yeah, we'll record and upload on Sunday. So Sunday the 3rd, it'll be the first episode, which we'll just say, I don't know, music?
Probably music, yeah.
Let's just say music. Music will be up on the 3rd, then video games on the 10th, I would imagine, then television on the 17th, movies on the 24th, and then the wrap-up on the 31st.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. And then, yes, regular episode on the 5th. So look forward to that. Mark your calendars, download the podcast, watch it on YouTube, check all of that out.
Yep. You'll be getting more news, more thoughts, and definitely more of us as we get into December next time on the Media Boat Podcast.
Check it out now. Bye.
All right. Bye.